Yes, Ugandans. I always take long talk about Uganda's politics, but there I felt like saying something about Bobi Wine and then Mohoze. If you find it offensive for Ugandans to be supporting Chagulanyi, then you are part of the reason they support him. You are part of the problem. And if you're one of the people supporting General Mohoze, still you are part of Uganda's problems. You are part of the reason why so many people are supporting Robert Chagulanyi. First and foremost, Robert Chagulanyi associates with the poor, with the suffering, with the downtrodden, with the voiceless. And so when you see so many people around him, so many people chanting and supporting him, singing him praises, it simply means that he actually represents their voices. And so they would really want someone like him, if not himself, to take over power, because in him they see a solution to their problems. We cannot guarantee that he'll be in a position to solve their problems, but at least apparently they see in him someone that associates with their problems, someone who has identified their problems, and someone who identifies with them. Okay, and that's why they will support him. There is no degree of propaganda that will take people away from him, as long as they still find themselves in need of a person who is going to identify their problems. So abusing him, insulting those who support him, calling them hooligans, calling them bayaye will not change anything. They will still remain who they are. When you call them bayaye, it creates two social classes. It just simply confirms that there are two social classes. There is the oppressed and then the oppressors. So the oppressed will not mind about any diction used to refer to them, but the oppressor can choose to change the way he calls them, the way he terms them, as long as their pain remains the same. How they are called will not change what they support. So it is actually very silly for someone to think that referring to the people, the thousands of people who gather around Bobi Wine, Vayaye, fools, hooligans, the vocabulary is wide. You have really called them everything. It will not change the fact that they love him. It will not remove anything from their hearts, to not remove anything from him, because they know that is the person who understands their plight. And so they will go with him regardless of how you call him, how you call them, and how you call yourselves. For me, I always think that the best would have been these people here, or the government. Let me refer to it as the government in their own understanding of the government, to really look into why people support this man. And if there are problems like land grabbing, corruption, absence of medical facilities in some villages, and maybe medicine in some of the medical facilities that have been established by the government, I thought that maybe the best way would be to really buy or put in place what people are lacking. Try your best. Let us see the government launching hospitals. Let us see people jubilating after receiving medicine from hospitals. It doesn't really need the government to construct hospitals in all villages. It just needs something, when the government shows that is working, and then people start, trusting it. Even those who have not received the services that the government is giving to other people will expect the same. They will have hope. They will know that, of course, with time, the government is going to be here to do this and this for us. But instead of doing that, instead of at least trying to attend to their problems, you hire more propagandists. You pay whoever can abuse Bobi Wine. You pay whoever can insult Bobi Wine. You pay whoever can undermine Bobi Wine. And then you sponsor them. They're everywhere on TV, they're on radio, they're on social media, they're in print newspapers. They're doing all the kinds of propaganda. But as long as their propaganda does not change the pain that an ordinary Ugandan feels, you're wasting that money. The money being given the propagandists will not change anything, because people are supporting Chagulanyi because of the pain they feel, but not because of what they hear from you. So it is very necessary that you change the approach. The approach has failed. Now you get full figure. You get the likes of Butcherman. There's so many you have taken. The other side, Ashbag, Kato, so many. Even getting these few individuals from the oppressed, or buying off those who speak for the oppressed and taking them on the side of the oppressor to speak for the oppressor, does not necessarily mean that the oppressed who have been following these people will follow them to the oppressor. The oppressed who has been bought to speak for the oppressor will now start speaking the language of the oppressor. And so that will make the oppressed know that this one is no longer one of them. And so they will not support him. They will now term him as one of the oppressors. So it is very expensive for the government to keep buying off those who speak for the oppressed instead of checking the reasons why those people are crying. Because you cannot buy all of them, you cannot buy all the oppressed. You only buy off those who try to speak for them. And the moment they stop speaking for them, then the oppressed will stop also listening to them. So that's what happens usually. And I don't know who advises the president and then those who are closer to him. This method has been used several times and has not worked. Everyone can see that it is not working because things are not okay. If you're talking about corruption, can you address corruption? If those who speak for the oppressed are talking about nepotism, can you address nepotism? If those talking for the oppressed are talking about poor service delivery, can you address poor service delivery? Instead of buying them off and then putting them on your side. It is very hard to convince someone who is hungry that they are not hungry. You cannot take all the people who keep telling you we are hungry, as you see us, we are hungry and angry, to your side, and then you make them convince those who are hungry that no, you are not hungry. No, they will remain hungry. And so with time they will abandon those you have taken to your side. So usually when you undermine those who support Bobi Wine and then abuse them, insult them, call them names, it doesn't change anything. Actually, it will not change anything, let me tell you. The more you realized that people are annoyed, the better. You see, the people who support General Mohozi are actually the minority. These are beneficiaries of oppression. Most of them are beneficiaries of oppression. Then some of them are just myopic Ugandans who are excited. Others are opportunistic people expecting to receive a potato from him. Three categories: beneficiaries of oppression, myopic and naive Ugandans, and then the opportunistic who expect to benefit from him. And of course, when they expect, or what they expect, are not hospitals and all these other things. They want to be on his right side or even his left side and be apostles or maybe disciples and receive a potato. Because the ordinary Ugandan knows that he's not one of the people who can really understand their problems. He has not gone to bed hungry. He has not known that in the village someone can ask for a pinch of salt to put in their soup or in their grains. He does not know what ordinary people go through. That's why at one point he wondered why some Ugandans go to Saudi Arabia and Asia to become maids when there are jobs here. That shows detachment from the ordinary people. So he's detached from ordinary people. He's for the elite. And the elite in this case are the minority. I do not mean those who have gone to school. I mean the beneficiaries of oppression. Those who have had something. They just want to maintain the status quo because they don't want to lose the little they have gained, the little they have stolen. They do not want to be questioned for what they possess. Those are the people who support him and they are lying to him. The truth is that Ugandans are not happy. And for the president to prepare a soft and smooth landing for his son, he should do things that Ugandans will appreciate, but not just lying to themselves that, yeah, this is the man. No, for us to know that he's the man, let him prove that he is one by doing what matters to people.